Under the direction of the Department of Health and Community Services, in the event that the Provincial Critical Care Triage Protocol has been activated by the Chief Medical Officer of Health, the HealthyNL system will be used for the initial assessment, secondary review, and overall triage of patients requiring a trial of critical care and patients already receiving a trial of critical care. The following eTriage video is intended for the secondary reviewer. The secondary reviewer is selected by the MRP, primary assessor, that submitted the initial critical care triage form through HealthyNL. The role of the secondary reviewer is to review the primary assessor's initial eTriage submission and provide a secondary review as part of the HealthyNL critical care eTriage process. The critical care eTriage process will be initiated by a phone call that you will receive from the MRP, the primary assessor. This phone call serves as a courtesy to ensure that you are available to contribute to the critical care eTriage process and provide your clinical expertise. This phone call also serves as a trigger for you to log in to HealthyNL, the provincial electronic health record. During the telephone conversation, the MRP, or primary assessor, will provide you with a patient identifier and advise you to log in to HealthyNL in order to complete the secondary review. A reminder that as an eTriage user, you will be required to access eTriage through an external HealthyNL account, even if you are a MedAccess EMR user. At this time, eTriage is available only when you launch into HealthyNL from Meditech or when you visit the HealthyNL external website. Your EMR MedAccess account does not have the same functionality. In accordance with this provincial protocol, the role that you play in the eTriage system is very time sensitive. Once the eTriage assessment form has been submitted to you as the secondary reviewer, you must review and action the eTriage form in a timely manner. Your attention to this time-sensitive assessment will ensure that the provincial critical care triage team can meet protocol guidelines and provide a final decision within 60 minutes of initial submission. Once you are logged into HealthyNL, click Referrals from the left side menu, and then click eTriage Dashboard to display your personal dashboard. The eTriage Dashboard provides a comprehensive list of eTriage statuses, including My Drafts, Requires My Attention, In Progress, Completed, Cancelled. The number of applicable eTriage assessment forms for each status is listed under the Count column. A hover feature displays additional information about eTriage statuses. The My Drafts work list contains eTriage assessment forms that are in draft status. As the secondary reviewer, the drafts work list is not relevant. However, in the event that you serve as an MRP or primary assessor for the eTriage critical care process, you will be able to avail of the drafts feature and this work list will be relevant. The Requires My Attention work list is the most important eTriage work list. This work list indicates that a response from you is required. The In Progress work list contains eTriage assessments that you have already reviewed. The eTriage forms in this work list now require an action from the Provincial Critical Care eTriage team. The Completed Cancelled work list is a combined work list. The completed eTriage forms represent eTriage forms that have been finalized. The cancelled eTriage forms represent those eTriage assessments that have been cancelled by the MRP, or primary assessor. Click the Requires My Attention work list to begin the secondary review process. The ordering of the assessment forms within this work list is based on the date and time of submission. Those that you need to review first will present at the top of the list. If you notice that other eTriage assessment forms that are not applicable to the call you just received are presented at the top of the list, please attend to those eTriage forms first. This will ensure that eTriage forms are processed on a first-come, first-serve basis. Click on the name of the patient to open the eTriage assessment form. At the top of the eTriage assessment form, a workflow status will indicate awaiting secondary review. To begin the secondary review process, scroll down to see the details of the primary assessment that was completed by the MRP, or primary assessor. Any fields containing a dash indicate that the field was not applicable. Any fields containing a yes indicate that the field was selected by the primary assessor. An exclusion criteria summary will be available at the bottom of the screen. This summary will advise you of the exclusion criteria met versus not met. Once the form has been reviewed in its entirety, click Submit Secondary Review, located in the top right corner of the eTriage assessment form. A new Submit Secondary Review screen will appear. Indicate whether you agree with the assessment and enter the applicable rationale for your decision. Finally, acknowledge that you have reviewed the entire form prior to completing the secondary review process and click the Submit Secondary Review button. An updated version of the eTriage form will generate. At the top of the eTriage assessment form, you will note a change in the workflow status. The workflow status will now indicate Secondary Review Completed. Finally, the form must be sent to the Provincial Critical Care Triage team. Click the Submit for Triage Review action located at the top right corner of the assessment form to ensure that the eTriage form is sent to the Provincial Critical Care Triage team. A toll-free contact number for the Critical Care Triage team will be displayed. Call the number to advise the Provincial Critical Care Triage team that a new eTriage assessment form is awaiting final review from their team members. The Provincial Critical Care Triage team is composed of 2 senior physicians and 1 senior executive. The 2 senior physicians and one senior executive will collectively work to finalize the e-triage assessment process. A lead physician will be appointed to complete the final e-triage steps in HealthyNL. Although the members of the critical care triage team may vary according to who is scheduled, the contact number will remain consistent. This call serves as an important trigger for the team members on call to log into HealthyNL immediately. Finally, please acknowledge that you have contacted the Provincial Critical Care Triage team and click the Submit for Triage Review button. An updated version of the e-triage form will generate. At the top of the e-triage assessment form, you will note a change in the workflow status. The workflow status will now indicate Awaiting Triage Review. Once this status appears, your role as the secondary reviewer is complete. The Provincial Critical Care Triage team is now responsible for working collectively to reach a group consensus on the type of care the patient will receive. The activity panel located to the right of the screen will provide a history of all steps taken on the e-triage assessment form to date. In future, there are two methods that you can use to monitor the status of the patient's e-triage assessment form. Method 1. Log in to HealthyNL and open the patient's profile. Click the Referrals tab. Click e-triage assessments from the left side menu. A list of e-triage assessments in progress will be displayed. It is unlikely that the patient would be involved in several e-triage assessments. Therefore, this list will likely be short. Please be advised, you will only be able to view e-triage assessments that you have a relationship with. The following green arrow indicates that you have previously been involved in the e-triage process for the patient, and therefore, you are allowed to view the details of the e-triage. Other relevant information, such as status reason, sending provider, date created, and date last modified, are available from this list. The list will also indicate if the patient is in ICU, information related to their advanced care plan, and if applicable, percent of exclusion criteria met. Higher exclusion criteria would increase the likelihood of being withdrawn or withheld from a trial of critical care. Click on the applicable e-triage referral to open it. Refer to the status and activity panel to view the progress made on the e-triage assessment form. Method 2. Once logged into HealthyNL, click Referrals from the left side menu, and then click the e-triage dashboard subheading to display your personal dashboard, as mentioned earlier in this video. The work list titled In Progress will be helpful for you when monitoring the status of the patient's e-triage form. Please be advised, if the Chief Medical Officer of Health announces a shift in triage level, you may notice that certain e-triage submissions have been canceled by the MRP, or primary assessor. Following these e-triage assessment form cancellations, you can expect to receive a new assessment form for the same patient. The new form will contain the adjusted level as per the Provincial Critical Care Triage Protocol. For more information, please watch the video titled Managing a Provincial Triage Level Shift. Thank you for learning about the role of the eTriage Secondary Reviewer.